Hey, if it's Thursday, it is Think Tank Thursday, and just want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to join us. It's weird today. I'm just going to be thinking on my own because I just got back from the FEC Summit a couple of weeks ago, and IAPA does a great job, right, putting on the summit, and it's got me thinking a ton about investment, personally, the way I run business. They had a wonderful speaker there that, did all the stuff about the balance sheet, the P&L, and all those things, the cash flow. And I just, man, for myself personally, I am not risk averse at all. But I'm debt adverse, and I never want to be very far in debt. And he just made me think about what decisions am I not making because I'm so cautious about being in debt. I'd rather have money in the bank. I tend to try to fund things on my own, which means then I might go slower on doing things because if I don't have the money, I don't do it. And I know there's a lot of business philosophies that are absolutely different than that. And as he put the dollars and cents of it up on the wall, I was like, oh yeah, so if I borrow that money at a good rate, invest the money I've got, I get a return on that investment, still have my money at the end when things are paid for. And I thought, oh man, what am I doing, right? Anyway, hey, listen, before we go any further, I want to make sure and thank our digital sponsors. Bowling Music Network is brand new to our digital sponsorship. So hello, Jim, Juniper, and Adam, Melrose, and the whole team there at Bowling Music Network. Thank you so much. And then Redemption Plus, our longtime partner in crime. Ron helped me think about all the big things I could do as I started Train Entertainment almost 15 years ago. So thanks, guys, for being our sponsors. We really appreciate the fact that you provide funding so that we can continue to grow and do these kinds of things. So that's a good segue, right, to talk about money and how we use money. So along with this investment thing and whether or not to have debt, and learning more about debt ratios and things like that. The other thing that really came up that just stunned me is that 70%, get this, 70% of the people at the FEC Summit said that they were going to spend $50,000 to $60,000 this year buying games. We did a lot of talking about games and game revenue, and it's real easy to put a game on the floor. You know what you spend the money on it, money comes back. You can see, you can physically touch the ROI, and proprietors are ready to spend that money. So it made me think like, well, why is it so difficult then? Because it does seem to be difficult to think about spending money, investing in a sales team. We help lots and lots of proprietors with their group and their birthday party sales. It's what we've been doing for 15 years. I don't know that we know everything yet. We keep learning every single day, but there are some basics that we absolutely know that when you make a champion for your birthday parties, when you assign somebody and make them accountable for birthdays, and you create a champion for outside group sales and quit just relying on the inbound business, your group and your party sales change significantly. And so I just wanted to kind of take a minute and work the numbers. And if you're viewing here on Facebook with us, man, I'd love you to put your questions and your thoughts in there and help me understand more why the investment in not just a salesperson, but a salesperson plus a coach, right? So I want to look at that. And of course, that's self-serving. We want to do the coaching. We want to help, because I suspect that some of the reasons that people don't make that investment is they've tried and it didn't work, and they felt like they were just putting money out there. And if I can spend, you know, $60,000, let's say, on games, right? Or $60,000 on a sales investment, and here's how I break this down: 40,000, 35 to 40,000 for the salesperson, a base. And I'm just talking about group sales. And I want you to remember that in our coaching program, you get the benefit of groups and birthday parties. As a matter of fact, what we see over and over again is that people get in our sales coaching program primarily get in there for group sales. And the side benefit is their birthday party programs increase an average of 25 to 27%. So I'm not even going to consider that number. I'm not going to worry about that number today, but I want you to keep that in mind. But the coach, year one, I don't want to write on my wall, year one, the coach costs $25,000, okay? And so, you know what, let's call this investment $65,000. And you could even call the games investment. We're going to show this at 5 games. One of the statistics they put up there in the teaching was that a game, if you spent $10,000 on a game, but then of course I heard somebody in the audience say, man, where can I find a $10,000 game? But just for this example, let's say that those games are an average of $12,000, okay? And so you're going to do $60,000. You're going to get 5 games, and actually I think you probably ought to try to do both, right? You're going to do a $65,000 investment on group and party sales. Are you with me? Okay. So what happens is, in theory, right, I think they quoted that an average game would return $221, something like that, $221 a week. So let's call it, let's look at the ROI, right? The return on the investment. Let's look at 5 games, and we'll call it times $250 a week, $250 a week, times 52 weeks. All right, I can't do the math in my head, so I cheated and I wrote it down, and it is, yeah, $65,000. Okay, so 5 times $250 a game times 52 weeks is $65,000. Okay, so if the games cost you $50,000, you got $15,000 back. If they did cost you $60,000, your return on investment is $5,000 to $15,000. And I get it, that's year one. Like, you're getting your ROI, you got to pay your games back. So obviously your investment's going to be lower. Okay. If I've got this investment in my team, I've got the same sales investment. Actually, I'm even a little bit higher. And the thing I want to point out is you're paying that as you go. Like the games, many times you're having to pay that all up front. So I'll go back to my first deal. Maybe you have to go in debt, and maybe it's the right thing to do. You got to borrow the money. Over here, you're paying this as you go, and so you can keep a close eye on it. And so indeed, if your big fear is, what if it doesn't work? Well, then quit. Fire the salesperson, kick out the coach, stop doing it if it's not working. What happens if this game doesn't work? What if this game indeed returns $100 worth of revenue instead of $250? Or what if it returns $500? And I get that. I totally get that, right? But here's what we know. What we have experienced is that in year one, you can expect at least 5 times the spend on the coaching program. Guys, that's $125,000. Oftentimes, we see twice that much. I will tell you that what you should expect from this $40,000 salesperson is that they sell a minimum of $400,000 a year, a minimum. If they're already doing that and you implement our program, again, that's what we see is at least a 5 times return on investment, and oftentimes it's 10 times, okay? But I want to be uber conservative, and I just want you to compare. If I knock off the $65,000, we're going to show $60,000 ROI in year one. If I compare that to $15,000, I like $60,000 better. And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't buy games. Every family entertainment center in the world wishes they had more square feet for games. I'm a fan of buying games, but I'm as big or bigger fan of implementing a sales and a coaching program to ensure that you get the sales that you want, right? And that maybe the investment in having a coach, like if you've done it before and it didn't work, or if you've got salespeople in place right now and you're not getting the results that you need, maybe you need to do something different. I mean, honestly, our coaching fee for year one, it is the cost of 2 games, right? And you start whittling it down and looking at it that way. All right, $20,000 cost. I'll even say the games make $300 because I can do the math. Let's see, two games. What is that? Times $300 is $600 times, can I just do 52 weeks since I can do that math? That's $30,000 minus your 20. You got, are you ready? Right? You got a $10,000. You got a $10,000 win, right? Yeah. How did you only make 15,000? Oh, because I gave you more. You made more money on those games. I'm like, wow, you need to get those 2 games. They were better, right? If you just take our fee, $25,000, we do $125,000 more in group and party sales. It's $100,000. The ROI is $100,000. I just gotta say, to me, it's a solid investment, and I wish I had the best way of helping you understand. And maybe you're thinking, well, what do you get when you coach, right? So you get tried and true processes. You get 2 days of on-site training. You get all the entertainment sales materials. You receive. See, now it sounds like I'm doing a sales pitch, and really what I'm just wanting to know is, why is this such a hard decision? What is the difference? Because I don't know that you know anymore that these games are going to do the return on revenue. And you might say, well, what about the next year? Now my games are all paid for, right? And that's awesome. So now you've got a $65,000 upswing, and that's fantastic. But now you also have all the guidance, all the key performance indicator, all the best practices about how to help groups understand the great value of having an event in your center. So anyway, it's an interesting thought. I wish I had somebody here that I was talking with, instead of just doing it by myself. But I hope you're watching. I hope you will, give me some insight. I would like insight on, do you spend other people's money more than your own money? Are you risk adverse to debt like me? When is the right time to borrow? And then what is your thought here? What am I thinking right, wrong, or indifferent about when I compare, when 70% of the people in the room were absolutely certain they were going to spend the $50,000 or $60,000 on 4 or 5 games? What the long-term impact of building your group business and your party business and making sure new people are coming into your center? Did you know that the first time somebody gets introduced to your center, oftentimes it's because they came with a group or to a party? And so, I don't know, to me, do this and do this. And if you got to borrow money for one of them, borrow money over here. This you're going to pay as you go. If it doesn't work, quit doing it, right? All right. Well, I can't wait to see what you think. Please email me or post here on Facebook if you want to. My direct email is beth@trainertainment.net. Please remember it's .net. We won't get it if you send it to .com. beth@trainertainment.net. You can send a note to let us know what you'd like to see for Think Tank Thursday. And again, I want to thank our digital sponsors, Bowling Music Network and Redemption Plus. Thank you guys. Have a great Thursday.